Animation is probably one of the most difficult art forms to learn, and I honestly wish it was so much easier. I've been animating for around 8 years, and if there's one thing that I've learned about animation, it's that there's not some magic rule that automatically makes all of your animations better. There's actually 12. The founding fathers of animation called them the 12 principles of animation, and you literally cannot make an animation without them. But once you become aware of them and begin implementing them with purpose into your animations, it pushes them to a whole nother level. But before we get into those, I'm Promotus, and if you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. The first of these principles is squash and stretch. This one's pretty simple. If you drop a ball, it squashes as it lands and stretches as it comes back up. The stretch can also give viewers an idea about the speed that the object is moving at. Usually, the faster the speed, the more the object is going to stretch. It's important to note that you want the volume of the object to stay the same, so as it squashes in, it's going to stretch out. This principle isn't just limited to bouncy balls, though. Almost any object or character is going to have some elasticity. The amount of squash and stretch you give an object or person can communicate useful information about what it's made out of. Anticipation is a very important principle, because without it, my jump would look like this. An animation without anticipation is very hard to track. When I throw this ball, I need to wind back, so the audience has a better grasp of what's about to happen. Also, any action without anticipation is going to look a lot weaker than if you add some or a lot of anticipation. But you can also subvert expectations for a humorous effect. It's really up to what you want to convey. Staging is to animation what composition is to illustration. You use the staging of a shot to bring the viewer's attention to what you want them to see, not that. Obviously, you want to show the viewer what's happening, but with a moving camera, that can be pretty hard to do. It helps to keep in mind that if an action is being performed in a certain direction, like running, it's important to leave space in that direction, so the shot feels less claustrophobic. If you have a poorly staged shot, there's no telling when the person is going to run straight into something. Straight-ahead action and pose-to-pose refer to two different ways you can go about animating. Pose-to-pose uses keyframes for the animations that might be a little more difficult, like a character. You start out by drawing the key poses of the character's movement and animating in between them. For example, if I was jumping, the keyframes would probably be here, here, and here. Straight-ahead action, however, is more useful for movements that are unpredictable, like fire or an explosion. You animate one frame after another, and it gives this nice, fluid look. Follow-through and overlapping action refer to the effect that different parts of an object move at different rates. When an object comes to a quick stop, depending on the elasticity of the object, the amount of follow-through may change. When this object stops, it follows through by leaning into the direction it was moving, before springing back. If the object was more dense, you wouldn't see that as much. You can apply this to all kinds of parts of your animation, like hair and clothing. Slow in and slow out is the idea that objects that start moving take time to build up speed, and a fast object takes time to stop. When using this principle, you can communicate ideas about the weight and texture of your object, too. Like, if someone tried to come to a stop on a slick surface, it would take them a lot longer. And if someone was trying to move a very heavy object, it might take a while, or not happen at all. Arcing is an important principle because most objects that move do so in an arcing motion. So it's probably best that your animations follow the laws of physics. Even apart from gravity, my arm moves around my shoulder in an arcing motion, and even my fingers move around my knuckles in the same way. This helps a lot in pose-to-pose animations. Instead of drawing directly in between, try adding an arc to the movement to make it a little more fluid. Secondary action is huge. It's basically another animation on top of your current animation that adds on to or is influenced in some way by your current animation. This could be a baggy shirt, hair, or even blood dripping from a wound. If you are animating something like hair though, remember your arcs so the hair isn't growing and shrinking as it moves. All of these principles work together in many different ways. Timing is a big one when you're thinking about the weight and movement of your character. Big and heavy usually means slower, and small and light would probably be fast. Add slow in and slow out on top of this, and viewers are likely to understand a lot more of the kind of object they're seeing. Exaggeration is a great principle to use for comedic effect, or when you want to push the ideas of what animation can do. You see this used a lot in anime, like when the character's using a really strong attack. You can also use emanadas, which is what you call these things that pop up around a character when they're feeling strong emotions. Solid drawing is a tough one, because it primarily comes down to just being good at drawing. On top of that though, you as an animator need to be able to convey a 3D world to an audience using 2D drawings, and that can be tough. If you guys would like me to share what I know about that, leave a comment. And the very last principle is one that's partially out of your control. Appeal comes down to people liking your art and animation. Does it have solid drawing, convincing animation? Does it have personality and readability? The answer to that one comes with time. For now, just focus on practicing and learning these principles. This video's been on my bucket list for a long time, and I'm really excited to finally get it done. If you'd like to support me, or you just really enjoyed watching, check out my other videos, but the best way to support me is to check out my Patreon. I don't make money off of YouTube right now, so that would really help me out, plus you'll get mentioned at the end of my next video. Alright, consider subscribing and letting me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.